Today I'm hosting my very special guest and friend, Becky Spencer, singer, songwriter, speaker, co-owner along with her husband Tracy's of a bed and breakfast, longtime faculty member of the Colorado Christian Writers Conference, and author of an upcoming, almost released book, A Bruised Reed, Memoirs of African Orphans and Their Rescuers. I'm Patricia Durgan, the Christian Message Coach, and this is Marketers on a Mission, the live show for every Christian with a message to market. We show you not only the various tools that you'll need to market your message online, but also the strategies and the secrets to use those tools. Have you ever had an opportunity to share lunch with Becky Spencer? It is an unbelievable event. I've had that pleasure several times. And let me tell you, the atmosphere is charged with energy when Becky's around. Good morning, Becky. How are you today?
Good morning, Patricia. What a joy to be with you.
I'm a big fan, as you well know.
Oh, ditto.
Let's talk about your book first, shall we? And then we'll get to the conference.
Sure. I'm so excited about it. I actually took a little, go ahead.
No.
Yeah, I actually took a little, what I thought was going to be sabbatical. I had a week just to seek the Lord, do a little resting. And instead, Monday morning of that week, he showed me this book. And so I've been writing furiously ever since. That was like the second week of March. So writing. Yeah. Yes. It's going fast.
Yes, it is going fast.
But you know, when it's your passion and you have such a compassion for these kids, it really does just start rolling off. And I've had a lot of good advice from people from the conference, people I met at the Colorado Christian Conference. So that doesn't hurt.
No, because we pick up when we go to the conference, even though we're talking about the book, when we go to the conferences, we learn things just by osmosis, don't we?
Yes, we sure do. Yeah.
Now, this is your first book?
No, actually, I've written 3 other books. I have another one almost done, which I thought I would be working on that week, but now then this will be it's the 4th that's going to be finished. But then it's also the first in a series worth fighting for. And so people used to ask me, well, what do you write about? What do you speak about? And it's like, family, orphans, adoption. I don't know. And the Lord showed me, no, you write about things that are worth fighting for. So this is the first book in the series.
I love that phrase.
Yeah.
And I also am really intrigued by the title, A Bruised Reed,
yes,
Memoirs of African Orphans and Their Rescuers, because it tells me right away as a reader, this is going to have deep sadness in it.
Yes.
But you're making a promise to me that by the end, there's going to be hope.
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly it. Swaziland has the highest incidence of AIDS in the world. So there are orphans everywhere and vulnerable kids who maybe still have a living parent, but they aren't being cared for. So, and there's huge abuse, every kind you can think of, huge neglect. In 2010, 20% of the homesteads were orphan-led, no adult even living there. And I don't even know what it is now, but it continues to grow. So the need for kids there is huge. And even while I've been writing this book, more of the kids' stories have been coming out, because I'll start to write and I'll think, well, what really happened there? So I ask them, and I'm just blown away that these kids have even survived, that they still love God, that they're normal. I mean, you would think that they would just be worth nothing, just cast aside. And that's where A Bruised Reed comes in, because in Isaiah, Jesus was saying, a bruised reed I will not break. Okay. And when he looks at them, the world would just toss them aside and think, that reed is bruised, so let's just get a different one that isn't. And he says, no, don't break that one down. I have a plan. I can make something out of that one too. Yes. And he is and does and will.
Yes, thank the Lord Jesus. He sees all the promise that's there to be developed, doesn't he?
Amen. Yes, that's it exactly. And you know, for me, going to Swaziland, we've been going for almost 12 years now and working with kids there. And it can get so overwhelming because the needs are so great. But what I've been able to see as he's just grown us in this ministry is that he sees every single one of the children there the same way I see my children, my grandchildren, the same way he sees us.
Yes.
Just as much potential, just as much gift in them, you know, dreams that he has for them, just like he does for us. And our job as Christians is to love them the same way we would love our own kids and grandkids.
That's a great perspective, and it's a wonderful picture that you just drew with words.
Yeah, thank you.
How did you, of all the places in the world, how did you end up with a ministry in Swaziland?
Yeah.
Tell us about the various things that the ministry does.
Okay, great. That is such a great question, because Tracy and I have 8 kids. 4 of them are adopted, 4 of them are birth kids. And when they were all almost grown, we still had one that was a latecomer who was still at home, but the rest of them were almost all graduated. And we've been praying, God, what's our next assignment? No idea. We live in the middle of Kansas, and we went to Seattle for a graduation of a very dear friend. And Tracy and I decided to go to the rummage sales. The very first one we went to was this little missionary couple, Stan and Sue Drew, who were getting ready to go back to Swaziland. So they were selling their stuff. And we perked up because Swaziland is almost surrounded by South Africa. And our son, who had just graduated, was going to South Africa for a month. And the girl who was graduating in Seattle was going to South Africa for 10 months with YWAM. And so our kids are just all into the missions there. And so we just thought, this is so cool. Stan and Sue can tell our kids what to expect culturally, what to take with them. Little did we know there was a lot more to it. They did that for the kids. We came back home, and we've supported missionaries through the years, but never someone we didn't know that wasn't part of our church group or something. But we could not get them off of our minds and hearts, and knew God was calling us to support them. So that was 2003. 2005, there was a shift. And even though we're still supporting them, the only way I know how to say it is that we felt a pull to Swaziland. And it made no sense. I do not consider myself Africa material. What's that song Scott Wesley Brown used to sing? Please don't send me to Africa. I mean, I didn't grow up thinking I'd be a missionary. I'd been on mission trips, but nothing like that. And it would go away. So long story short, we ended up going in 2006 and spent a month there with our then 10-year-old daughter, Anna, not knowing if God wanted us to move there, not even knowing why he had us there, but we went. Mm-hmm. And absolutely fell in love with the children there. And we were willing to move. We still are, if he ever gives the word. I'd hate to leave my family here, but I tell you what, it's a short distance. When you've been that many times, the link from here to there is very short. And so instead, I go twice a year. But just while we were there, we could see the needs. There are lots and lots of churches, lots of ministries, but they all end up having kids just brought to them because they have nowhere to go. But then turns out that these ministries can't afford to send them to school, and sometimes can't even afford to feed them. So that first trip there, we could see our job, at least for that time, was to find sponsors for kids, kind of like Compassion and World Impact do. So we started that way, and over 200 kids have gone through our sponsorship program to go to school, make sure they get something to eat. And we still have about 50 kids in that program. But through the years, we found kids that wasn't enough. One little girl in particular actually still had a mom. Her dad passed away. She had a mom, but the mom left her, and so her grandma took care of her. When the grandma died, Angel had her mom come back into her life with a little brother, and then another one came along, all different dads, and just she seemed to like the boys, but didn't really want to take care of Angel. Mm-hmm. So when Angel was in 3rd grade, her mom started locking her out at night. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about in a community that it's the Manguanini, which is land that the king allots for people who don't have a homestead. If you can find a spot to put up a hut, you can live there. And just extreme poverty and unemployment and men loitering around drinking. It's so bad. And we're like, Mom, what part of the highest incidence of AIDS in the world do you not understand? That you're leaving your 3rd grade daughter outside all night. And it was bad. So we tried to find a place for her. Her mom didn't want her. And there are so few orphan homes to begin with. Excuse me, makes me emotional. Few orphan homes, and the ones that are around are full. And for 2 years, I tried to find a place for her to go. And things just got worse and worse at home. Finally, 2014, I came home and told our board, I cannot find anything. I have tried every lead. I've emailed, I've called, I've visited. There is nothing. And they finally said, if we can't find her one, let's build her one. So 2014, we started raising funds. 2016, we finally had enough to build our first care home. And they moved in a year ago, 2017. And so they've been living in, we have wonderful house parents who really have a call of God to love kids as their own. And so the first care homes open, each one, we're going to build a total of 12 on this property this chief granted us. And so that's a huge focus, is building care homes with house parents. So it's a real family environment. Meanwhile, there are a lot of kids in this village where we're building that can't live with us, but they still need food. They need a good, solid foundation for their education because the schools are very subpar.
Yeah.
So any day now, I mean, like we're probably a week or two out from opening a feeding kitchen that will serve every needy child in the village and a preschool. So we're so excited about it. So yeah, never a dull moment.
I was trying to grasp all of that.
Yeah.
It's an enormous undertaking.
Yeah.
And from a distance. You do it from a distance, thousands
Yes.
of miles away.
Yeah. And it's key to have people there you can really trust, which in these countries is a challenge. It really is. You know, we learned some lessons the hard way, but we have an amazing pastor that is actually from the UK who's been serving in Swaziland for decades, and he's actually a Swazi citizen now. And so his ministry is kind of overseeing ours for the financial part of it, and it just takes the burden. We have great house parents we trust, but they are so wrapped up already in everything they're doing, because she also will oversee the feeding kitchen and preschool. She's a former preschool teacher and teacher of preschool teachers, and he's a builder, so he's in charge of all of our building projects, and they've got a house full of kids.
Sounds like you're in Tracy.
Yes, exactly. That's it. So it's great to have someone else overseeing that part of it and giving me the reports, you know, handling that side of it, because the paperwork just gets to be pretty overwhelming, and making sure everything's going where it should and all that. So yeah, it helps.
Tell me two things about both the book and the ministry from your side. Would I be able to read, me being an average person, would I be able to read the book and not be so heartbroken that I can't finish it?
Oh, yeah.
And secondly, how does the Lord help you be exposed to all of these travesties, all deserving our attention and His?
Yes.
And then how do you put it in a special place? Does He help you so that it doesn't gnaw your souls to the point of you being unable to function? How do you deal with that, Becky?
Those are great questions. I'm going to answer the second one first.
Okay.
And remind me if I forget the first one. When we first went to Swaziland, it was truly overwhelming. I came back, and we have this big 3-story house because we raised 8 kids, and we were down to just 3 of us. And we're just looking at our house going, this is obscene. 3 people do not need all this. We either downsize or use it, which is how we ended up with a bed and breakfast. Amazing ministry. But then even just when it was time to give our grandkids presents for Christmas, I could hardly even do it. It's like they don't need anything. They don't need anything. Even the ones who are struggling, they don't need anything. In the U.S., we have programs for everything. And it was so hard for me to marry my life with what God was calling me to do. And especially when you first go, you get a picture, just a glimpse of what the real situation is. Then every trip, it was just like more and more and more. And I ended up extremely burdened. And I think that's what you're talking about, compassion fatigue. You know,
Yes.
It's like we can't even begin to meet the needs. And in fact, when you're there, you can be just going to the grocery store and you have people begging you for food, begging you to put their kid in school. And you just can't do it all. And you don't want to get hard in your heart, but it's so much to bear. And I was really trying to work through that. And I'm a songwriter. And the Lord spoke to me through an idea for a song. And the title is, If You Could See Them Like I See Them. And I'm talking about the needs in a third world country and everything crying out, you know, their bloated bellies, their eyes, the needs they have, and feeling like I can't even begin to touch that. But He says, that's not why I sent you. And then the chorus is this: if you could see them like I see them, this is God talking. If you could see them like I see them, you'd see all I dreamed they would be. You'd see the gifts I placed inside. You'd understand my sense of pride and all the joy they bring to me. If you could see them like I see them, you'd love one of them in my name. You'd give your life just to free them. Imagine how it feels to be them if you could see them like I see them. And I can't even really begin to explain how much that helped me, because it's his dream, it's his compassion, it's his love. And my job isn't to help everybody. My job is to help the one that he has put in front of me, and to just do what I can do and rely on the people he sends to become part of it. Because it's not Tracy and Becky Spencer's ministry, not for a long time. It's the Lord's, and it has become so big that we absolutely are thrilled and depend on the people God sends to do it with us. And then now and also I can't compartmentalize it because it's every day for me. It's grown. We have this thrift boutique that helps support the work there, and it's pretty much all consuming. And so it's every day, answering emails and questions and this WhatsApp on the phone for the people that are there in Swaziland, staying in contact all the time, planning the next trip as soon as I get back, because we go twice a year now. Keeping the store going, getting enough volunteers for that. It's just all the time doing fundraising. And now with the book coming out, also doing more speaking. I kind of had to slow down on that while we got the store open. We've been open for 2.5 years now, and it's really well established. And we have a fantastic new manager. She started started helping in September and became the manager end of November. And she's fantastic, freeing me up now. I still go 3 days a week, but it gives me some time then to focus on getting the word out there, speaking some more, and all that. So all that to say, well then, are you going to be able to read these stories and even have the heart to keep going? I hope so. I can't promise. There may be times when you feel like you have to put it down, because the things that happen to these kids who are not being cared for is unbelievable. Angel is just one story of hundreds and thousands of kids in the same situation, or it's hard to imagine worse. But yeah, we have kids who we've loved for almost 12 years now, who are now grown men, who were street kids. And as I've been writing the book, I'll just think of something that I know about them, and I'll think, well, wait a minute, I really didn't hear how that happened, or what was next, or what did that look like for them. So I've been asking questions back and forth. I can barely even stand some of their stories, but if the reader can just realize that it does something so vital to these kids, men, women now, some of them, some still kids, it does something so good for them when they are heard, finally heard. This is the whole story. This is the raw, ugly, demonic, horrific brokenness that I went through. And then the rest of the story. This is what Jesus did for me. And thank God he let us be part of the answer. That's nothing short of miraculous, that God loves those kids so much that he would speak to us all the way across in Kansas that no one's ever heard of, little bitty town, but out of this place, he would send help and raise a team of people here who are willing to be part of it. It is changing eternity for these kids. So hope readers will get through the hard part to the victory and the sweetness. Yeah, because when Jesus,
get to the good part.
Amen. I don't have this scripture memorized. I should, but when it talks about a bruised reed, he will not break. You keep reading, and it says how he does justice with truth, and he brings the truth. It isn't just feeding them, even though that would be important, even if that's all we did. How can they live if they aren't eating? It isn't just the education, even though that's also a huge piece and important. It's giving them Jesus, giving them love, showing them what it is to be family. And I could talk for hours, but 2 of our guys got into some real trouble, and figured we would abandon them. And
based on how they've been treated before.
Exactly. And both of them just have really struggled for it's probably been 9-10 months now. It's been a real rough road. But when I was there in January, I was able to see both of them and go, look, we're family. And family walks with you, even when you messed up. This is what it looks like. It doesn't mean that there isn't some consequence, but we are with you through it. And they, especially one of them, could hardly even believe he could have that kind of grace and forgiveness. But that's what family is. And so just line upon line, precept upon precept, hug upon hug. We're teaching them, this is what it means to be family. This is what it means to be part of the family of God. And you are not abandoned. You can just wipe that title orphan off and replace it with adopted.
Yes.
The spirit of adoption, which all of us are.
Yes.
Adopted by the Lord into his family. So, yeah. So worth it.
It sounds like it's one of those blessings that is too difficult to contain with words.
Yeah.
With simple
Yes.
things.
Yeah.
Here.
Yes. I can sing it, I can speak it, I can write it, but I don't think it will ever be enough to fully say. Well, I mean, anyone who is a parent, anyone who has ever led someone to the Lord and actually discipled them after that will have an inkling, because that's really what it's like. It's loving someone. Jesus said it. Love God and love your neighbor like I love you.
Yes, yes.
And so it's Christianity 101, really.
I like that. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, yeah.
Boots on the ground.
Yes, yes.
So the book will be available on your website and on Amazon.com in early summer. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And we can look at both the title or you yourself as the author, right? And find it.
Yes, that's right. Becky Yates Spencer is how my author name.
So you've got so many pieces of the Swaziland puzzle that are operating and functioning, and dreams for the future that's going to even require more. Can we donate to you?
Absolutely. Yes. Because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take some hands and some funds. So absolutely.
Where do we go to do that, Becky?
You would go to Grand Staff Ministries, that's plural, .com/donate.
Okay.
Period. PHP. If you just go to Grand Staff Ministries, you'll find the donate page. Yeah.
And viewers, I'm going to put the links. We'll be mentioning several links during this interview, and I'll put all of them in the description above the video. So it'll be at your fingertips. All right. So what about the Colorado Christian Writers Conference?
Oh, I'm so excited about being part of that again this year. We were trying to figure out how many years we've been going, because you and I met there.
Yes.
It's been, I don't know, I think 12 or 13 years, something like that. We've been going. It was before Swaziland, so.
Yes, and it was before either one of us were invited to be on any of Marlene's conferences.
That's right. Yes. Amazing how God orchestrates that. But I have learned so much from going to the classes. I have enjoyed precious friendships, yourself included, and just the connections are just amazing, because God uses people in our lives to refine us, to teach us, to hone our craft, the classes, and then the relationships after that. I said people from the conference are helping with my book, and it's just been amazing to me how friends have come together. One of them has an editing company. Hope Flinchball has that, and different ones, and Barbie knows all about formatting, and it's just amazing how it all comes together, and all those connections are from people at the conferences.
Those connections and that sense of community is not available to Christian writers locally.
That's right. Yeah.
But it becomes
isn't for us. We live in a small little community. Yeah.
It becomes a small community, and very, very bonded personal relationships and business relationships.
Yes.
Go to them, and they're all over the country, but particularly we're talking about Marlene and Marlene Bagnall and her two. She actually does two. The Colorado Christian Writers Conference in May and the Philadelphia Christian Writers Conference in early August. And you have served at both.
I have, yes. And I think she's actually moved the Philly one to July, it looks like.
Yes.
She moved it up a little bit this year, yeah.
I know she has a new location too, so I'm gonna have to
yes.
that as well.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, and just amazing connections. And Marlene has a real gift for connecting people for God's purposes.
Yes.
And the conferences are amazing. People who are beginners, people who've been writing a long time, even published authors go because of the connections they find there, and you just are continually growing and honing your craft. And so she's a huge encouragement to my heart and to hundreds and maybe thousands of writers. Her whole thing is write his answer. We've
Yes.
got a hurting world out here, and it's our job as writers to write his answer to a hurting world.
Yes.
And so, and that's sometimes through fiction, sometimes through nonfiction, sometimes through newsletters at your church, all different things.
Mm-hmm.
But she has ways of getting all the right speakers and classes and workshops and keynotes in there to encourage us and teach us so we can get out there and do the job.
It's such a big, complex undertaking. I don't know how she does it. I don't know how she's.
I know. Quite a woman. And like I said, with such a team of help. Mm-hmm. Great people who come along. Yeah.
She does have a great staff, volunteer staff.
Yes.
Now this year, typically you teach, but this year there's a little bit different. You're not going to teach, but you are going to present. On Friday night, you're going to make a presentation about the ministry in Swaziland.
That's right. Yeah, she's been so gracious to let me do that several years in a row. And even in Philly, when I'm not there, she and Barb Haley have presented for me. So,
really?
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, she loves missions. She loves hurting kids, and really has a passion for it. And she knows how to connect us. It's amazing to me that lots of our child sponsors and even donors for our building project have come through the conferences. Yeah.
That makes it just a touch more special, doesn't it?
Yes. Marlene is an unselfish, giving person. Yeah. She could take an offering to meet the needs of the conference, and she does it for the ministries instead, not just mine. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, let's talk about your speaking. Because you mentioned it earlier. You're ramping up the speaking engagements again.
Yes. And for years and years and years, I'm a singer-songwriter, so I was doing concerts and speaking in churches. And it was actually several people at the conference who helped me hone in on what God really had for me with Worth Fighting For Ministries. And I've done women's conferences and retreats for a long time. That's my favorite venue. Speak in churches. Sometimes if the pastor's gone, they'll let me come in and speak. Mother-daughter teas, just all kinds of things. And I love doing that. And I don't just talk about Africa and Swaziland. I speak about a number of things that I think encourage the body of Christ, and especially women. I really love ministering to women. And so a lot of topics there. But again, it's going to go back to things that are worth fighting for. Whether it's marriage, adoption, wayward kids, our faith, those kinds of things. So, lots of topics.
And you also not just speak locally, but regionally. Do you also speak nationally if given the opportunity?
Absolutely, yes. I've been to clear on the East Coast before, and of course in our little state area, our neighboring states, lots of that. Texas, Oklahoma, Colorado, Missouri, and Nebraska, and of course Kansas.
Find out more about that. Everything that you're doing, we can find out about on Grand Staff Ministries.
Yes. And when you go to that one, it actually has 3 places you can go. When you go there, you can go to the Grand Staff side, or you can go to Becky Spencer Ministries, or you can go to our bed and breakfast. So all that's on one landing page.
Do you think you're going to continue the bed and breakfast indefinitely?
So far it looks like it. We've talked about not doing it, but God just continues to send people that it's amazing to me, because sometimes it's someone we can minister to, maybe a tired Christian, a discouraged, tired pastor, discouraged Christian, hurting marriage. And then sometimes he sends people to encourage us, yes. Which is equally as lovely. But a lot of our sponsors have also come from that, and volunteers for our store. Our new store manager was a guest in the bed and breakfast. And she just lives about 15 minutes away, and I was looking for a purpose, and she came down to the boutique to shop. And as soon as she went in, she went, "This is it." And now she's our manager. So it's still just, it's amazing to me that it's all just connected, and the people that God sends. So I don't see it stopping anytime soon, but I do hope I can get some help. I told the Lord just a couple days ago, Lord, I really need someone to help me with secretarial work and someone to help me clean my house. I mean, you know me as an energetic person, but I have slowed down a bit.
Okay, that doesn't compute. I don't accept that. So tell us one more time the website, please.
Yes, it's grandstaffministries.com.
Okay. Viewers, if you get a chance to get the book, to attend the conference, to hear Becky sing or speak, take the opportunity. And Estes Park, Colorado, next week, May 16th to the 19th. She will be there along with many hundreds of people for the Colorado Christian Writers Conference. And I understood from another person that I interviewed about the Colorado conference that the weather's going to be great. So no snowstorms this year.
Yay! I haven't looked that up yet. Thank you for the tip. Now I know how to pack.
No blizzards, no blizzards. It has been, of course, a beautiful, wonderful privilege to talk to you again, my friend.
Likewise, Patricia. I love what you're doing. You are also equipping people and making this thing happen when they're finding their calling. I appreciate you so much.
I pray so. I pray so. We've been talking to author, singer, songwriter, ministry leader, Becky Spencer. Her book, A Bruised Reed, Memoirs of African Orphans and Their Rescuers, is available in early summer, both on her website and Amazon.com. That's it for this week. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you right back here next Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, I'm Patricia Durgan, the Christian Message Coach, and I hope this show helps you become a marketer on a mission for Christ. Thanks for being here.